So I wanted to give you guys a quick tip on how I would approach an area like this. It's fairly complex, but straightforward, I guess. So I'm working in this area right here, and this is what I'm working on. So we got this in here. So as I try to approach this area, I have to think to myself, okay, we're getting a slight gradation here, and obviously I can do some glazing and stuff, but like I'm trying to just attack this just to get like a base down there. And as I, build and build and build, gradually I'm going to start bringing out all like, the little teeny details like there, that, but that's like for a later date. We need to bring out the foundation and the base of this skull. So how would I approach this? Well, for starters, there's a technique called window painting where you slowly build the form from dark or shadow to mid-tone to highlight. So what I try to accomplish to kind of make things simple is I'm going to get in this area right here, determine what this is, right? Figure that out. I have an anchor color here, which is pretty much black. So I could start off with a black, determine what this swatch is, and I know when we're coming out of the shadow, so it's going to get lighter. So I'm focusing on this area right here. How do I tackle this? I'm going to try to mix up this swatch, and this swatch, which is, for the most part, what I did here. First, I mixed that up. Sorry, it's out of focus. I mixed that up, which closely resembles this. Then I went ahead and I found the highlight, which is roughly this, which is roughly that. And I know we're moving out of shadow. So what I did was I simply took this, and I essentially created this color and value string by just taking my brush and essentially like blending across. And one thing to note is when you're creating a value string or form, when the element, let's say comes into light, you actually lose chroma. So I just added a little bit of an orangish red hue to it, because that's kind of how value and chroma work. As a form rolls into the shadow from a highlight, it starts to increase chroma, but as we go into shadow, we start to lose it. Now, generally speaking, there's more chroma within the shadow area compared to the highlight, but I mean, it's very difficult to discern, and we can get into like a scientific notation and Munsell color theory, but the point is just doing this, creating your value string and adding a color in the mid-tone is going to help you achieve that. Essentially, that's what I did with this area. I was able to take my shadow, put it in here, take my highlight, put it in here, and start to solve as I go. And I know that there's a little added highlight here. Sorry, where is it? Where'd it go? Right in here. And I have a little bit of paint on my brush, not that much. And what I'm doing is I put some white in there, and what I'm doing is I'm taking this paint and I'm just blending it in to the area. It's almost as if I'm using this as a palette, right? Constantly looking at my reference and coming back to the area. Essentially, I'm doing like mini cross hatches. And typically speaking, when you're putting a color or a swatch into another wet area, I'm just trying to almost kind of come across it like this into shadow, right? Yeah, maybe that helps.